Whenever we talk in the programme about knife crime, many people tell us, look, there's a link between rising knife crime, rising youth crime generally, and cuts over the years to youth services. Tonight, we have a report from a group of MPs who examine youth affairs, and this report says youth services have borne more of the brunt of local authority cuts. LBC's senior reporter Matthew Thompson is here.
Yes, Eddie, youth services have seen huge cuts since 2010 of what amounts to nearly £1 billion, or a reduction of 3/4 in the size of the budget. That's the conclusion from a report by the all-party parliamentary group for youth affairs today. And urban areas, which have experienced some of the worst levels of youth violence, have faced the deepest cuts. And often voluntary and community sectors have had to step in to fill the gap. And that's the case in North Kensington, an area of significant deprivation, made infamous, of course, by the Grenfell Tower tragedy. So I spent the day at one such community centre in North Kensington and spoke to some young people who've been excluded from mainstream education.
It's either football or the gang, and most boys can't, like, not all boys can play football, so the way they see it is that they don't have that much options.
You have problems outside of school, and you come here and you're going to release the anger, so you forget about everything that's happened to you before.
In the basement of a nondescript housing block in North Kensington is Epic Learning, a youth centre. When the Prime Minister and Home Secretary talk about a public health approach to knife crime, well, this is it in action. Posters on the walls talk about guns and weapons, gangs and county lines. A reminder of the life outside of these walls that the kids here might otherwise be drawn to. But its very existence, and that of many others like it, is under threat.
I'm Brendan O'Keefe, Managing Director of Epic CIC. We were part of the council, and seeing the writing on the wall in terms of cuts coming down the line, we decided to go independent, and that allowed us to raise funds from other sources. But it's now got to the point where the cuts have become so severe, including, unfortunately, in Kensington and Chelsea, that organisations like this, Epic, are in severe risk of not being around for very much longer.
And Brendan's experience is far from unique. A report out today by the All-Party Parliamentary Group, or APPG, for Youth Affairs has found that youth services have been cut by more than 3/4 since 2010. Because youth clubs and the like don't have statutory protection, they're often the first things to go as councils have looked to find savings.
Youth work was fundamentally about providing young people somewhere to go, something to do, and someone to talk to.
Lloyd Russell Moyle is a Labour MP and chair of the APPG on youth.
And when we've seen the 3/4 cut, those youth workers that did have those standards and did have that experience are no longer there. So when Sadiq Khan says it's going to take 10 years to rebuild and restore some of the problems that we have in knife crime, he's quite right.
I know so many people that have been kicked out of school, and instead of trying again or trying to carry on with education, they just kind of thought like, nah, it's not for me. And they just ended up not doing anything with their life.
Joshua, not his real name, is now a professional dancer. He was one of the lucky ones.
There was here in the half terms, there was something called Dance Academy, which was actually one of the reasons why I've gotten bigger in dancing, because I came here for the Dance Academy.
Due to lack of funding, Dance Academy has now closed.
I feel comfortable, and I don't know, it's like it's a chance to meet new people, make new friends, socialise, have a lot of fun, and it's better than just going out on the streets, wandering, getting up to mischief.
The APPG report has called for a new Cabinet Minister for Young People and clarity on what services councils are expected to provide. But there's little substitute for cold, hard cash. If the government is serious about the so-called public health approach and really getting to grips with the knife crime epidemic, undoing some of the swinging cuts to youth services would seem like a good place to start.